It's been a while since we last spoke. Last time the last album was out, but you've spent the pandemic creating a monster. It's a great album.
Thank you, man. It's good to hear that.
Yeah, it's did things change completely for you? How did the pandemic affect you? I mean, it's affected people in different ways, but all I see is a wonderful new album called Sweet Poison that it's probably my favorite, and
Oh,
I've been there along for the ride all the way. So that's it's a
yeah.
big call.
I see a collection in the background, so that means you know what you're talking about. Um, yeah, a lot of things have changed, and especially for the progress of writing the record, because usually we write on the road and we write about the road and the shows and the stuff we see. And this time, of course, we were all of us were at home and we were all scared and frustrated, and we didn't know when we would be back on stage, and if so at all. And yeah, at first we weren't really in the mood to write or to work,
Yeah,
because we were just sitting there and we just thought, like, what's it worth? What are we waiting for? What are we like trying to do now? And and then I wrote a couple of super sad, frustrated COVID songs and showed them to the guys, and everybody was like, "Ah, fuck that, man. We don't want to hear that shit anymore." And of course, man, you turn on the TV, it's all about COVID. You turn the radio on, COVID, and your best friend calls you. 20 seconds later, you talk about COVID, and all these things, and then, you know, spontaneously I wrote The Usual Suspects, and I
wow.
showed them to the guys, and then everybody like reacted immediately and said, "Hey, let's make a record, man.
Yeah.
Let's do it."
I mean
So that
that's definitely one of my favorites. That's sort of like a real good time. The whole
Yeah,
first
yeah,
one.
yeah. That was paving the way, because we thought, like, okay, this is what we want to do. We don't want to deal with the frustration this way, to bitch about everything. We want to deal with this in another way. We want to use our energy to cheer ourselves up and cheer our audience up. And after The Usual Suspects was written, the rest was just like falling into place. So we
That's
started writing, and we started. Of course, we were in lockdown, so we had to send stuff around, and do Zoom meetings and all of these things. But it worked really well from that point on, and for me as a songwriter, I look back a lot, and I look back in time onto the early days of the band, and my teenage days, my early 20s, and the whole like, getting in touch with rock and roll for the first time, that phase. And I wrote a lot of songs about that, and at the end we had more than 60 demos for the record.
oh wow.
And yeah, and then we just picked the most fitting 11 songs, and reminds me a lot of our first record at some points.
Yeah.
And but only with more wisdom from the road. It's like the first record with the experience from 10 years being on the road.
Yeah. I mean, there's some wonderful songs on there. Open and My
Thank
Kind
you.
of Crazy. I as soon as I heard that, I thought the guys are back. I know that this is going to be a fantastic record. It's got that
Cool.
wonderful. It's like I get a bit of blues, bit of John Mellencamp, bit of all kinds of stuff in there, but that chorus is just fantastic. I mean, this is the music that should be playing in stadiums around the world as we go. And
Yeah,
it's
we're
good
working on that.
and it's good to see the country influences in there are as strong as ever. But absolutely perfectly work with I guess the rockier stuff in there. I mean, 3 years I guess since Nothing But Wild, which was probably my favorite album, but this one's it's got to be my album of the year today. It's fantastic.
Cool.
Um, Obviously a different way of writing. I mean, we've talked about before about how you've written the previous albums. Um, did you find that led to the different way of writing meant that you ended up with a lot more songs than you maybe normally would have? Or was that mainly because of the fact that you weren't touring, you had a lot of time on your hands, you were still at home?
I'm pretty sure it left its marks in the songwriting. Good example is usually we have at least one road song on a record. Usually it's Glory Road and One More for the Road and all these songs. Obviously on this record there's no such song. That's because we weren't on the road, you know. And at first, of course, you have to adjust to the situation, and you got to find yourself, and you got to or what I learned over the years is to not get nervous when you don't shit hits right away, you know.
Yeah.
That is something I learned over the years. Usually, you know, back then when I wrote a good song, I actually felt like a songwriter, you know. On a good day I felt like, hey man, you're a real songwriter, you know. And on a bad day I would feel like somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that is a songwriter, you know. So I would feel terrible, and on a bad day I would totally go crazy and say I can't do this. I've lost it, you know. All the good songs I ever wrote were just like coincidence, you know. I never really had it. I just stumbled upon them, you know, and now it's gone. And that feeling is gone now, and that helped me a lot in this situation, because if everything was new and I had to, you know, organize myself, you know, I had to you know, have come up with new work ethic, because there weren't backstage areas, there weren't tour buses that I could get the guitar out and write, you know. So I had to make space for writing sessions for myself, you know. I would drive somewhere and in a little hut, or sometimes I would rent a hut and write there, and I would I build a little studio myself, because I couldn't work in record studios and recording studios. So I built one myself, a small one, so I could write and record there. And yeah, you just had to be flexible in your head, you know, and come up with a new way and build new situations that you feel creative in. And after that was done, I felt comfortable and I could write all these songs.
Yeah, I mean, there's some wonderful stuff on there. I mean, and the variety as well is something I particularly enjoyed. I mean, when you listen to a song like "Sweet Gloria," which is to me is like it's like a Bob Seger sort of boogie,
yeah,
absolutely wonderful. And then you get right to the end, and I think one of my favorite is the "Veins of This Town" is
yes,
fantastic. I love the lyrics to that. You
nice.
missed it. How that one turned out.
Yeah, there was I remember like a memory of a show that we played in Paris one night, and there's a Sacred Heart Cathedral. It's called. It's a big cathedral. It's very up the hill, and you have to
Yeah.
climb more than 300 steps to get up there. And after the show, you know, it's weird because when you play like a packed show and you're in the spotlight, you're in the middle of the attention, you know. And then you have a shower, and then you get your coat on, and you know, put your collar up, and then you walk through Paris, you know, and nobody knows you anymore. And oh, it's my dog. Sorry.
That's okay.
um, nobody knows you anymore, you know, and you walk up that hill and you hear all this French talking, you don't know what they're talking about, but then you look around and you see people laughing, and you know, you get all these impressions of people fighting or laughing, or, you know, just talking. You hear the dogs bark, you hear all these noises, and I sat down on those stairs and I just closed my eyes, you know, and just listened for 10 minutes, try to really soak everything in, and I took my my sketchbook, is that the right word,
Yeah.
out, and I started writing like that little taste of perfume, you know, the touch of perfume, and the door in the distance, and all these things. I saw the lady on the trash cans, and all this, and I just wrote out everything down and took that with me for more than a year. And in the pandemic, I was thumbing through my sketchbook, and I saw just these little notes. It wasn't the lyrics at that time, you know. It was just like touch of perfume, and in distance, lemon door, and all these things. And I came up with the lyrics to that. And then I was looking for the right music, and I came up with that guitar intro. And then I showed it to the guys, and everybody was like, yeah, it's good, but it's really special compared to what we usually do. And we don't know if it fits to the band, you know. So we tried different versions of the song that would fit better to the band, but less to the lyrics and less to the song. And you know, then we put it aside till like the last week before we had to give the masters to the record company. And then we decided, like, fuck it, let's just put it on the album, you know, because we feel comfortable with it, and that's how it came alive.
It could only close the record. I mean, I think it fits wonderfully well there, and it's one of those things that it is like a new possibility. It's incredible where you could take that. First Time for Everything was another favorite when we were playing around there. That's sort of got I guess, I mean, it's wonderful how different the music is. I mean, for me, it's got a real sort of 38 Special Meets Bon Jovi sort of vibe to it, which is really cool. But I think we decided that overall our favorite was The Lion in You.
Oh, really?
It's interesting. It wasn't my favorite, but I think the guys who like their sort of like big choruses and stadium rock absolutely love that one. But there's nothing that's not great there. What was what's it like to be on the verge of getting back to playing live? I mean, I think are these the first dates that you'll be playing, or have you had
No,
some?
not at all. This year, early this year in March, we started catching up with our Nothing But Wild tour. So we played the last, I don't know, 15, 16 shows that we were missing out on. Then the festival season was incredible. You know, every festival wanted us to play, and we played more festivals than we ever played. So in 1 year, and we played super diverse festivals, from hardcore metal festivals to super like popular music, almost hipster festivals. And we were like super like the very exotic on both of those ends, you know. And a lot of rock and roll stuff in between. So and we felt very comfortable, and we loved it so much. But of course, because we played so much this year already, but we had to release the record, of course. And now we're going back on tour. We said, like, okay, we're gonna do a totally new set list for this tour. So we almost play the whole new record. It's like every song.
There's very few bands that I think I'd like to see play their entire new record, but I think this is one of those albums that deserves to be. I know that you're in the UK. I've got friends going to see you in December, so that will be cool.
Cool.
And hopefully one day we'll get to see you down here, down under.
Oh yeah, it's a long way, but
it's a long way. We're not too far away from Japan, and we travel a bit, so hopefully we'll get
there. Have you ever seen our video to Devil's Toys from the first record?
Yes.
There's this guy doing the wakeboard thing.
Yeah.
And at that time, that was our first record. So we had no money, no record deal, no nothing. So I was playing bars and pubs to make some money. And this one bar dude, he was from Australia, and he was working in the bar. So we got to know each other because sometimes, nobody would be there, and I would play my 3 sets, and he would work the bar, and in the breaks we would talk. And then he said, my girlfriend just left me, and I don't know where to stay. I said, hey man, you can crash on the couch for a couple of days, So it turned out to be, he stayed like for 9 months or something. And he was Australian, and he was passionate for wakeboarding. And I have never heard about this thing. So he took me a couple of times, and then I came up with the idea to film him doing his thing and turn it into a music video. So, and he taught me how to wakeboard, and that's how I got into all these like outdoor sports kind of things. And after then, he met his wife and went back to Australia, and now we're still in touch, and he invites me over all the time. But I'm so busy touring that you can't just go over to Australia for 3 days or something, and just say hello. So I would love to come over, and especially, and that's why I just told you the story, when I hear you talk and I hear somebody from Australia talk, I get so many flashbacks from living with this guy, on my couch, because it's you barely meet Australian people in Germany, and I was living with one for 9 months. And so every time I hear this accent, I'm so like back in that time where we had no money, and we were like, living on pizza and beer cans and in the small apartment, and he was sleeping on my couch, and we go wakeboarding all day and rock and roll. So that was a pretty good time. I always like connect very cool memories to that Australian accent,
It sounds cool, because whenever
Yeah.
we go to America, the States, people mistakenly think we're from Austria, so which is a bit close to home, for you. We'd love to play something off the new album. Until it's released on the 21st, we can only play the singles. So we'd love it if you could introduce one of the singles, maybe the latest one, for us. We had, do we have down here? Yeah, anything. And then if you could introduce something for the radio that we'll put out when the album comes out on the 21st, one of the other tracks.
Okay. So something like, hey, this is Timmy Rough. Okay, wait, hang on. Hey, this is Timmy Rough from the new Roses from Germany, and this is our new single, The Usual Suspects, from our brand new record, Sweet Poison. Crank it up.
Perfect. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah. And then when the album comes out, I would love to be the first person to play Bones of This Town.
Okay. Should I say something about that too?
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah. If you could say with that one, you're listening to the Rockpit.
The Rockpit?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hey, this is Timmy Ruff from the new Roses from Germany, and you're listening to the Rockpit. What you're gonna hear now is a song from a brand new record, Sweet Poison, and this one is called The Veins of This Town.
Perfect. That's absolutely fantastic. So when you mentioned that you're doing the whole new set list and you're going to be playing a lot from the album, how on earth do you choose what to leave out?
The set list decides what we do. We have to play a couple of our older songs, of course, and then we kind of decide that from the dramatic structure of the set. It's like how many fast songs, how many ballads, and what fits best together from the keys of the songs, or the tempos, or the level of popularity that the songs have. And because we're not that kind of band that say like we only play our like biggest songs, and that's our set list. So we always bring out some stuff for people that like us for our more heavy stuff or more intimate stuff, you know. So we are always try to keep balance and make it enjoyable for everyone. And that's because our audience is a very like, if it's a very, how to say, like, true and they're very consistent, you know. They show up, like most people watch our tour or a show like 4 or 5 times in one tour. So we thought we owe them, you know, after playing the whole year with the Nothing But Wild material, although the record is already 3 years old, you know. We said, like, okay, now we have to shift and come up with a brand new show. And then we thought, like, we like the new record, and so we said, like, we're gonna play the whole damn thing, you know.
It's a great, wonderful excuse. It's great to see that. I mean, I think more bands these days should be out there playing their new stuff and getting behind it. That's what I like. It's interesting because the Darkness are in town tonight, so I'm going out to see them. Who I think you played on a couple of festivals with, but
yeah, we're on the Kiss cruise with them.
oh, of course, yeah.
So please say hello from the New Roses.
Well, I'll see Dan later, so I'll tell him that we caught up. But they're coming out over and they're playing virtually their entire first album and just a few tracks from the new one, which most people like.
Yeah, but they have a very difficult, you know, history, you know, with a lot of ups and downs, and it's not easy because our records are all like pretty much on the same level, you know, from popularity wise. You know, we always had our songs on the record, but if you have such a big record like them, it was like worldwide super big, you know, and it kind of forces you to, you know, to do that. And it's I wouldn't say I would say it's a difficult situation. It's way more difficult for them than it is for us, you know, because we are currently on very stable, putting records out, you know, and no breaks and breakups and get-togethers and no super big hits, and then not so successful records. And for us, it's all the same level, so we can, you know, easily switch them around, you know. And
I still can't bring myself though to say I hope you never have a huge album, because I really do. The whole world needs to hear the new Roses. It's Sweet Poison,
Thanks.
my album of the year. It's always great to catch up. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, man. It was really nice talking to you.
Yeah, enjoy the rest of the year and enjoy the new tour. Thanks, Timmy.
I will.
Take care.
Yeah, whenever you're over in Europe, you know, you just let us know and we invite you to a show. And then whenever we come to Australia, I'll let you know.
That sounds like a deal. Take care.
All right, buddy.
Bye.